This is an example of a GUI that was customized for a specific experiment, in this case really more of an app. The idea was to keep track of how long a refrigerator door was open and send a warning when it was open for too long. The code is very simple, elegant. The door open indicator is defined by a light range. The counter period is just defined by the distance or the delay between measurements, because this is coming from a CSV in this case. And then once you get above a certain number of measurements, a warning light turns on. So running some sample data through it, we see the door is open, the counter's counting. Once we get above 10, the door is then left open. So this was a simple proof of concept. However, my point sort of here is that if this group had been asked to define their experiment from the beginning of the class, then they would have been able to create a much more, have gotten a more finished product. At the same time that they were messing around with this, once I introduced the idea of experiments and they were coming up with this, another group member had been developing this pretty detailed SOLIDWORKS model based on the famous house. And so then eventually we sort of iterated back and forth with my input, came up with the idea that you could have this house or whatever, it could be a variety of basically tchotchkes that you could buy with whatever you liked as the form, but inside it would be a sensor network that was tied into the sensor in the refrigerator that then would send a warning when you were over the time frame of the door being left open. So clearly, for example, what really was needed then was not a CSV file with stored data that's being subscribed to, but a live feed. So that I, on my own, just since the team didn't have time, decided to go and play with the existing MQTT server VI. So you'll recognize it here. I'm messing with the front panel as it existed. But then I customized it to where basically I just brought in their code. As you can see here in this loop, into that larger architecture of the provided MQTT server VI, and a simple. I ran some data. I blocked the light on my on my sensor network at home. And, anyway, just proof of concept showed that it could work. So anyway, my point being that if they would have had the time earlier in the semester to be thinking about this and then designing their enclosure and their VI the entire time, customizing it for the idea, then they would have been able to get to this point to themselves and probably further. I think we could have printed something, an enclosure, and then gotten some kind of LabVIEW functionality that set off an alarm or a blinking light or something in the enclosure.